The Jimmy Butler trade front has taken a bizarre turn as now Shams Charania, the insider of all insiders in the NBA currently since the retirement of Adrian Wojnarowski, has been called out by Jimmy Butler's agent over what he reported about Butler and his trade interests. I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Subscribe right here to the channel. We're going to keep you up to date on everything going on around the NBA. And only about 20% of you right now are actually subscribed to the channel. So the other 80%, you know what to do. Hit the button and subscribe. All right, so earlier on tonight, just a little bit ago, Shams Charania reported that the Phoenix Suns are another team that Jimmy Butler's agent, Bernie Lee, has indicated in league circles that the six-time All-Star is open to as a destination while Miami listens to trade offers. Sources tell ESPN, joining Dallas, Houston, and Golden State. Now, I took to social media to note that the Phoenix Suns are a completely ludicrous option here, a non-option really, on the Jimmy Butler trade front due to the rules of the new collective bargaining agreement. The Suns are a second-tier apron team, which means they cannot aggregate salaries in a trade. So the Phoenix Suns, they can't add up pieces. So if you are the Phoenix Suns and you want to combine a few players to go try to get Jimmy Butler, who's making almost $49 million this year, if you're trying to match salaries and you're Phoenix, you're not able to take, say, Yusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, start stacking up salary. You can't do it. You can only send out one player individually. Well, and then you might say, okay, well, then just what about Bradley Beal? Well, Bradley Beal has a no-trade clause, right? They're not going to give up Devin Booker. They're not going to give up Kevin Durant. Bradley Beal, maybe, but he's got a no-trade clause. If he doesn't want to leave Phoenix, that's it. He's one of only two no trades in the NBA. It's LeBron and Bradley Beal. That's it. So Beal has a no trade clause, and on top of that, as a first-tier apron team, the Miami Heat also can't take back more salary than they send out in a trade. So it is all but impossible for the Miami Heat to send Jimmy Butler to the Phoenix Suns. Yes, you can do some complicated things. You can get a third team involved, but still, it's very, very, very difficult. Again, all but impossible for Jimmy Butler to wind up with the Phoenix Suns under the rules of the new collective bargaining agreement. So that's why I put out what I did. However, Jimmy Butler's agent, Bernie Lee, took exception to Shams' reporting here. And I put out there that this doesn't make any sense because of the collective bargaining agreement. Jimmy's agent took it to a whole new level. And I can't think of a time when we've seen a newsbreaker called out the way that Shams Charania is getting called out right here. Check this out. Bernie Lee, the agent for Jimmy Butler, gets on X and says, quote tweeting, Shams, no less. All right, listen, I gave you a pass yesterday because I was busy, but if you don't stop putting my name on your complete and utter made up bullshit because you know you normally aren't worth my time to acknowledge. Again, this is, if you've been following this game for a while, you know, this is not normal for an agent to call out a newsbreaker like this, especially when it's Shams. Woj is gone. Shams is the guy now, and he's getting called out by like this. He goes on to say, I don't know what I'm going to do because I'm a middle-aged dad, but just know it would indicate severe dislike. World, all this is fabricated. I have never, and honestly, it wouldn't help me or the position I represent to do anything that's been reported by said journalist. So he is not just denying that the Phoenix Suns are another team that Jimmy Butler would be willing to go to, but he is, as strongly as you get, he's saying, not only am I denying this, it makes no sense. Why would I even say this? It does not help me at all to put this out there. And I kind of get it. Like, if you're Jimmy Butler, from his perspective, why put out there that you'd be interested in joining a team that you really can't get to? That makes no sense to do that. It's not going to help your position at all. Maybe does it make it seem like you've got more teams interested in you? Even that is kind of a stretch because everybody knows he can't go to the Suns. So why even bother trying to put that out there? It's not possible. As far as Dallas, Houston, Golden State, are those real possibilities? Maybe Dallas is tough, but Houston, they've told everybody that will listen that they're not interested in trading for another star. And then Golden State, I think Golden State would have real interest. So those are at least sensible. At least, from the cap perspective, you could. Dallas is tough, but you could make it work with these. The Suns don't even, it's not even possible. So Bernie Lee coming out here, just letting everybody know publicly, this is all made up. He's saying, I didn't say this to anybody. He goes on. Shams, this is your opportunity to say, my bad. I let Chat GPT write my tweets and it went old school Peter Vesey. And then he adds, Peter was a writer in the 90s, be a trendsetter, kind of making fun of the fact that Shams is a little bit on the younger side here. Invent the new I was hacked. Carry on all. Thank you. Now, we always have to keep in mind here that in a situation like this, is it possible that Bernie Lee is simply lying and covering his tracks? Is it possible that at some point he did mention that Phoenix would make sense? So here, Shams reporting says he indicated in league circles. That's key. Shams isn't saying Bernie Lee told me. He's saying Bernie Lee indicated league. So Shams is hearing it, second hand, third hand here. He's saying he indicated it. So someone else told Shams Bernie Lee said that the Phoenix Suns would be somebody that they would be a team they'd be interested in going to. And I think that's key. It's with something lost in translation, maybe. I'd be interested to see how Shams responds to this. But Bernie Lee is saying this is all made up. I did not do this. I did not say this. And you know the way Shams is connected, if you're going to report something like this, you think he would reach out to Bernie Lee and say, can you confirm this, that you said this, that this is accurate, that Jimmy would like to go to the Phoenix Suns? And maybe that even though the CBA, the cap system says that he can't get there, is this still accurate? So it's a bizarre situation where Shams is now getting called out for putting out something that the agent who the information was being attributed to, now again, second or third hand, but Shams is getting called out for putting out something that is false about an agent, or the agent himself says it's false. Now again, could Bernie Lee just be trying to cover his tracks here? Maybe he did talk about Phoenix and then realized, oh shoot, under the CBA, it's really tough to get to Phoenix. Maybe I should backtrack off of that. Maybe before he started some type of uproar or something like that. But again, that seems far-fetched. What it feels like to me is maybe Shams ran with something that wasn't confirmed, or he didn't confirm it with the agent himself, and then used the agent's name in the post, which is not ideal from a journalistic standpoint, especially if you are now the guy, right? You're the top guy in ESPN. You are now the newsbreaker. That is the position, that is the title that you've inherited if you're Shams Charania. And make no mistake, Shams works his ass off. He deserves a lot of credit for getting to where he's at right now, for taking on that Woj spot. And remember, it was Woj versus Shams for a long time, but I can't remember, and maybe I'm misremembering here, but I can't remember a time where Woj ever got called out like this. And this is where, if you are that guy, you're that top newsbreaker, sometimes in the rush to get things out first, mistakes will be made, right? And so the most important thing, if you're going to be that top guy, is you've got to be right. You've got to be right on everything, and you've got to check up on this kind of stuff. You can't be wrong. I know it's all about being first and it's all about being fast, but you got to be right. And if Shams is wrong here, if Bernie Lee says, no, this is a total lie, I never said anything like this, and Shams didn't do his due diligence, that's not a good look on Shams. Now, again, there's two sides to every story. So I'm curious to see how Shams is going to respond to this. But here it is. Jimmy Butler's agent calling out Shams, saying this is all, again, the word he used, fabricated. All of this is fabricated, indicating Jimmy Butler to the Phoenix Suns. Again, I could tell you cap-wise, it's not happening. It's all but impossible for it to happen. But Bernie Lee calling out Shams and saying, this is fake news. And I like the fact that he put journalist in quotes. Clearly, no love for Shams Charania here by Bernie Lee, agent for Jimmy Butler. Crazy situation. Again, this is not something we're used to seeing. An agent going after a newsbreaker for something that they reported, particularly when it's Shams right now, who is now, again, top dog in terms of NBA newsbreakers. But everybody, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What is really happening here? And go check out our latest video on the Jimmy Butler trade front and what's been reported so far about him and where he may wind up going, including Jimmy's reaction to the latest trade rumors. Go check that out right now. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well.